Film is a medium that transports. All I have to do is pop myself in front of the TV to watch a movie, and I can just enjoy it, whatever place the film takes me to.
Movies have always been an escape. It gives you a whole new world to be in.
I have a rekindled love affair with movies.
Welcome, everyone, to this episode of Real to Real Talk. I am Sergio Barrera, and it's time once again to talk all things movies. Joining me, as always, are the other Real to Real talkers, Paul Britton and Susan Chisholm. Team, we gave each other assignments, and now that we're thawed out here in Texas, I think it's time for us to talk about them.
Yeah,
indeed.
Overdue.
I can't wait.
Overdue.
Indeed. I am excited to get back on track as we have been dealing with the way in which Texas was not prepared for the freeze, but here we are. And we gave each other movie assignments as we have done before in past episodes. And what an eclectic set of movies we have to talk about this week.
To say the least.
I would say that is a fair assessment.
Yes, indeed. And so each of us will take some time, for those of you who are watching for the first time, shame on you. Each of us will take a turn explaining what movie was assigned, what we thought about it, and then we'll proceed on from there. Hopefully, no arguments will happen. But, so I would like to begin, if I may.
Absolutely.
Because you guys carried on with the animated movie tradition for Sergio. And not only that, you decided to give me a movie in which apparently Andre Agassi was a cast member. And so the movie I'm going to bring to the table that you guys assigned me was FernGully.
Mm-hmm.
So, where to begin?
Just beginning.
I want to ask. I want to start with a question, if I may, because this one I believe, Susan, originated with you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Why, woman? What?
Okay, so the reason that it came from me was because we were talking about movies that were impactful to us from a childhood into adulthood.
Right.
So that was impactful to me because that was what started me being very environmentally conscious about a lot of things and the way that I do things.
Right. Okay.
And for me, it's nostalgia. So
yeah.
Okay.
I will start by saying great cast. Of the time, Paul, I think you'd agree that there was, from a casting standpoint, it was pretty impressive. I guess for me, guys, the difficulty began with the fact that things have progressed so much from an animation standpoint.
Oh yeah,
that it was really hard to get into. Now it was only, it was less than an hour and a half, I think.
Yeah,
the movie itself. Yeah, exactly. So that helped. Has become the tradition.
Robin
here.
Williams, come on.
Yeah,
You've gotten this far.
Right. So here's the thing, though. So the cast includes some of my absolute favorite people in all of Hollywood. Robin Williams, yes, absolutely. Tim Curry. I mean, come on, we could do a whole episode of him. Then there's Christian Slater, Samantha Mathis, both who were in Broken Arrow, which I talked about a few weeks ago. The vocal stylings of Tone Loc, Cheech Marin, Tommy Chong, the list goes on. Robert Pastorelli, for those who know. Yeah. Again, great cast, wonderful cast. Very, very timely story for the time in which it appeared.
Yeah. And today, sure. But I think in watching it, it didn't have the same charm that some of the other movies you've given me in the past have had. And I wouldn't say that it's just because it was those were Pixar and the technology was there was just something about this movie that became kind of preachy, but also it was very slow for what it was. There was just something about the pacing that just didn't quite pick up for me. And it just got really, I don't know, it was hard to enjoy. It's an early 90s animated movie that was literally for kids. So
right.
you're not the target audience. Let's just be fair, okay? Let's be fair.
Well, I
protected you from Monsters versus Aliens. So for that, you could just be thankful and say, you know what, I put up with FernGully because Paul said you don't have to watch Monsters versus Aliens. And
well, now I'm curious.
You're welcome.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's not good, Susan.
FernGully, The Last Rainforest, 1992 is when this movie came out, and it's a very straightforward story. The fairies are trying to save their land from pollution. I found myself wanting to fast forward through the songs, but I didn't.
Yeah, I can see that.
It just didn't have the charm.
No, it's for kids.
Yeah. But I don't know that even what guys, I'm not a parent, so maybe this is where my next thought comes from. But would kids even understand this and really be like, yes, well, obviously Susan, but you know.
Wow, rude. Thank you. My kids,
I knew I should have gotten you
did watch it
for Christmas.
Yeah. Keep digging. No. I was 7 at the time that came out, so.
In your wheelhouse. You were the target audience. I was working in a movie theater when that came out, and I'm flat out telling you, it played on, like they had it set up so that like it was just showing on weekends early for like 5 or 6 weeks after they had stopped showing it through the rest of the week because kids were still coming to see it. So. It had a Saturday and Sunday noon and 2 o'clock showing every day, or actually noon, 2 and 4, I think even, but, or not every day, but every weekend it had, it had showings. And
so it
had an audience. The audience was kids.
Even now, because I showed it to my kids when they were young, because we had a VHS player and all of the old VHS tapes between mine and my husband's combined collection of Disney Disney VHSs, and like that was one of them. My kids loved it. They would anyway, they'd act out some of the scenes stuff like that. But yeah, like my kids loved it.
Robin Williams is good.
How about you, Paul? Does your child
I don't
appreciate FernGully? You don't own it. Okay.
I don't own it. I had aged out of it by then. And no, I mean he's too old now too. He's 13.
Oh, okay. He's out of the demographic.
Yeah, I am officially at the I don't have to see every single animated movie that comes out stage, which I'm thankful for.
Yeah.
So.
And Paul, you just said he's 13, and I remember when I met you, and I realized the math is 7 years now. So
yeah,
man.
But let's memories of the corner of my mind. But the one thing, one of the reasons why I was like, yeah, okay, let's do FernGully is because I just wanted to throw out a trivia thing. The guy who the dude from The Big Lebowski is modeled after. Mm-hmm. An executive producer on this movie.
Oh.
Yeah. So
okay. There you go.
Yep.
Thanks for making me watch that just so you could show that. So.
That's literally no. Look, Susan. This movie clearly meant something for Susan. Yeah. So I thought it would be. I was genuinely curious because it's not bad. I mean, it's not like empirically bad. It's just it's good for kids. So I was just curious. I wonder, what's Sergio going to see? Because I saw it when it was out in theaters because I could see it for free, and right. I saw everything that came out at that time. And it was okay. It was like, it was coming off of the heels of Aladdin. And so Robin Williams had just done the genie. And so you're like, yeah, let's do Robin Williams voices for everything. And like the points where Robin Williams was not, I'm not going to say on screen, but the scenes where his character wasn't, part of the thing, it was lacking. He's really the energy of the movie, and that's it. And
not in it enough as a result. So
definitely, I agree.
Well, thank you both.
Yeah,
FernGully. Yeah. All right, so I will leave it to the two of you to decide who's going to go next because what a list remains.
We're gonna go. Oh. There's an argument for going Susan, but I think let me go because let's end on a high note.
Okay.
So,
Man,
we're officially in the. We're just gonna give Paul whatever because we have a movie and it's going to take forever to find a good movie to give Paul, and that's okay. I got to see 2 movies for the price of 1 as a result of this. So my movie was Chronicles of Riddick, starring one.
The 13th Warrior moment.
Yeah. Oh, no, I've seen that one though. I just haven't seen it all the way through. Chronicles of Riddick. What year did that come out? Chronicles 2004.
Yeah.
Man. Okay, so and I had never seen Pitch Black, so I was like, I don't want to go into this thing. Totally blind. You know, like I want to. Which is kind of funny considering
the theme of the movie.
So I went ahead and watched Pitch Black, and Pitch Black is not what we're here to talk about, but I just want to say, no, just don't.
I'm not going to disagree.
Everything about that movie annoyed me, but Chronicles of Riddick, it's interesting because Chronicles of Riddick happens at a time where it's the transition from regular effects to computer effects en masse. You know, like it's just, you're not finding any movies being made with regular effects anymore at all. Like everything is computer.
Yeah.
And there are obvious studios that or outfits or shops, whatever, that do a good job with computer animation. And there are obvious outfits, shops, whatever, that do a bad job of computer animation, and Chronicles of Riddick just decided to go with one of the others. You know, I didn't hate this movie. I really genuinely didn't hate this movie. I didn't particularly like it either. Like, it's got Judi Dench in it, and that's fascinating to me.
Thank you for bringing that up.
I want to be a fly on the wall in 2003 or 2002, whenever she agreed to make this, and be the fly on the wall where we find out, how did they get Judi Dench to be in this movie? How did that happen? And her character is mildly interesting.
Yeah.
And it's because it's Judi Dench.
Right.
Like this movie is horrible without Judi. Her presence literally brings she is the rising tide of the universe, I now believe. She absolutely brings this movie up a little bit.
Oh yeah.
It's not terrible. It feels like it's from 2004. Like,
and
I've had this conversation this week on another internet movie forum or Facebook internet movie forum that I'm on, where like, look, you know, you can't call movies old and new. Like it's just a dumb arbitrary thing. You can't say, oh well, anything more than 20 years old is old, and everything less than 20 is new, because this movie was made within the past 20 years and feels old in comparison to Star Wars, which was made in 1977. Sure. Okay, it just does. You know, like this movie is not aged well at all. It is a relic from an era of movies where, you know, they gave Vin Diesel and people like Vin Diesel just, you know, movies.
Right.
And $50 million and said, here, go make a movie. We know we're going to get $50 million out of this, so why not?
Yeah.
You know? So.
If I'm not mistaken, this movie was greenlit because of the success that Vin Diesel had between Pitch Black and now this film. Yeah. Because many knew nothing about Pitch Black until after this movie came out, and people were like, it's a sequel, including this guy.
Really?
And yeah, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
And so when I found the sequel, or that it was a sequel, I went back and watched Pitch Black and was like, oh, okay, that's who those characters were. Because Chronicles of Riddick assumed you knew who the Iman was and who the girl was. And you had to know the story of Jack. So yeah, but I'm so glad you brought up Judi Dench, because I remember when I watched this movie,
the first time, I was fascinated because you guys know me. I like a good action movie. It doesn't take a lot to impress the guy.
Right.
But in the years since, even though I still like revisiting it, it never fails when she appears on screen that I'm like, how did her agent keep his job after he booked her for this? Like, I mean, yeah. But hey, to Judi Dench's credit, she sells this thing. I mean, she
100%
takes the role on. Now, I won't ever make you, not that I could, but there is a third. It's a trilogy.
I'll watch it eventually. I'll get to it.
Yeah, no Judi Dench, and so
yeah,
I'll let you decide. But yeah,
right now I have to pay for it, and I'm like definitely not in like, oh yeah, I'll pay to watch Riddick mode yet. Like $3, I can. There's like 50 million movies on HBO Max that I can watch right now.
Yeah.
That I would rather invest in.
Yeah, but I'm glad you saw it.
Yeah, me too. You know, it didn't suck. It wasn't horrible. It was just kind of young Carl Urban, who was fantastic also. Kudos. Yeah. Like, the acting in this movie is really good. Everybody is absolutely 100% in. It's just like you're on a you're a prisoner, and then you're not.
Yeah,
Cole Meany's not in this, is he?
Not Cole Meany. No.
Cole Fiore.
Fiore, thank you.
Yeah, Cole Meany is from Star Trek.
Sorry, Cole Fiore.
And Con Air.
Again, another actor who way over the top with his performance, really, but you would never have thought that he'd be in it. Yeah. So, well, there you go. Chronicles of Riddick, and Pitch Black to boot. So.
And Pitch Black to boot. Pitch Black. I have one thing to say.
Okay.
Seriously, they stopped doing the whole color filter thing after, at some point for a reason. Like, it didn't need, on black and white movies, they just let it be. Right. And you didn't need to bring it back, bro. We've gone, we went like literally like 80 years when they stopped using stupid color filters on black and white movies. We didn't need it to come back at all. At all. Did not have to happen.
Well, there you go. From FernGully to Chronicles of Riddick, and now to Susan.
Yes.
To round out the movie assignments adventure.
So, I like how Paul was like, "We're going to end on a high note."
That's right, we are.
Okay.
Best.
I was assigned Raising Arizona, which is Nicolas Cage and
Holly
Hunter, and it also has good Lord, John Goodman in there. Yeah,
written and directed by the Coen brothers. That's very important.
Very important.
It is. And you could tell because there are a few things that they do, like and the music, like the yodeling intro, I mean the yodeling throughout the entire movie, it was so ridiculous. Like just like every movie trope you could think of, with the never ending bullets, like the bottomless magazine for a gun. Like he has literally a 6-shooter revolver, and I'm like, that was like 22 shots. What? So I mean, I loved the story. I thought the story was adorable. Like, it's really cute. And of course, Nicolas Cage is hilarious. I think everything was hilarious. It was for me, it was one of those things where I was like, it was ridiculous to the point of like, okay, you could stop now.
No.
Because it keeps, for me, that's my thing. Like, you could stop now.
Yeah.
Like the gag with leaving the baby on the car, on the top of the car.
Multiple times.
And they're just screaming and screaming and screaming. And it's like
so much screaming. That I can only imagine you during the they need the Pampers and so he steals them scene.
Oh,
because that scene literally goes on like 10 minutes, and it's just, I love it.
That's what I'm talking about. It was it was so ridiculous.
It's
that's
so
the time we had the cop had the 6-shot revolver, and was like, he shot like four shots down every aisle
right
of the grocery store, and
right.
I was just like, It's never gonna end. It's never gonna end.
It doesn't, and it's fantastic until it ends, and then that the capper to the scene. Well, it sure ain't Ozzy and Harriet, and then he leads out the car, picks up the fucking diapers that he dropped out of the first store, and closes the door, and it's perfect.
Yep.
I'm sorry, it's perfect. It is such a great moment in cinema. I can't even.
I mean, I have to say, like, I really like Holly Hunter as an actress. She's very, she always plays like the motherly character, but she does it in a really great way. But she's also one of those people she's never going to be a super like mega star A-list person, because that's just not the type of actor she is. But she really stole the show. Yeah. I think she stole the whole movie. Like, obviously Nicolas Cage he was already well known.
Not really. No.
Not at this point.
Yeah, because
nah.
Okay. Well, maybe not then. But to me it was like, okay, yeah, this is the clear winner is she's not.
Yeah, he had done the one movie with Cher, I think, and that was about it.
Moonstruck, yeah. This is the classic definition of a cult classic. Raising Arizona. I mean, this movie, if I haven't shared, anytime Alamo Drafthouse does quote-alongs for Raising Arizona, we are there. Jen and I do not miss it, and it is church, man. You've got to be there. And so, we absolutely love this film. I was very excited that it got assigned because it's hilarious. It's hilarious. So
this movie,
it is hilarious.
This is one of the movies that set me down my path of loving movies, quite frankly. I mean, just I saw this and then I was like, oh, I found out there were other Coen brother movies, and I was like, I gotta go see I gotta rent the other Coen brother movies, and Barton Fink and Miller's Crossing, and I was like, I need, and it just, Coen brothers to this day are still, top 2 or 3 for me. Just depending on the moment. But yeah, I mean, so many awesomely quotable things. Turned it right. Just
what's the line? Awful good cornflakes. Oh man, John Goodman, I don't think gets enough credit for what he does in this film, because he's so nuts. But and then what's his Bill? I can't think of his last name. But the cast is wonderful.
Yeah,
the Coen brothers are I'm glad you
national treasure.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, national treasure wasn't one of the movies we just talked about, but yes, thank you.
No.
But now those of you watching, about our thoughts on movies like FernGully, Raising Arizona, and the Chronicles of Riddick. I don't think we've had this big of space between all the types of films that we've ever assigned one another, or maybe we have. But this was fun. This was fun. I have to say.
I agree.
So, all right.
I'm sorry you didn't love Raising Arizona as much as Sergio and I did.
I think we should.
It's not. I didn't hate it.
No.
Right. Yeah.
This wasn't.
And maybe we oversell it. I don't know.
No.
It's
like you said, it's a cult hit. Like the people who love it irrationally, and for everybody else, they watch it and they're like, oh, okay.
All right. Well, that was a whole lot of fun. Don't forget, you can continue to join us here week to week on YouTube. We thank you for doing so. If you haven't already, click that subscribe button and make sure you click the notification bell as well, so you know when our episodes land. Leave us comments and likes. We want to hear from you. Also, you can share your thoughts with us on Facebook and Instagram. There you can see what movies we've been watching, what movies we're going to be talking about, what movies we've talked about, because there's a whole treasure trove of episodes you can catch up on, and we encourage you to do so. So make sure you give us a like at Real to Real Talk on Facebook and on Instagram as well. You can find our audio versions on Spotify and Podbean. So get on out there, get caught up, and then come back next week. It's time for this week's segments. Paul, yours is called "What the Hell Did I Just Watch?" So, what the hell did you just watch?
So I was inspired by Pitch Black and the light filters, and so I decided it's time for us to do the first ever silent movie in the What the Hell Did I Just Watch?
Oh.
And I've actually had this one in my back pocket for a while. It was on the very first iteration of the list that I wrote, which is absurdly long now, and I hope I never make my way through the whole thing. But this is a German silent film from 1922, 1921, 1922, released in the US in 22, Germany in 21, called, I'm going to mispronounce this, Haxan, or Haxan, Haxan, available on HBO Max. And it is it's a mix of documentary and actual, like, you know, acted pieces about the history of the occult and humanity. Like, just, you know, all of human history. Here's the occult. Boom. Welcome. I won't say it all.
Up to 1921, obviously.
Yeah, right. Up till 1921. And basically, the Christian version of the occult for the most part, although that's not true too, because it does even touch upon like some Egyptian stuff that goes on and things like that. It's fascinating. I mean, you know, this is like a little slice of history from 1921, and like the funny thing about it is, and yeah, it's funny because the what the hell is going on here part is that, like, this movie was extremely progressive for 1921, but like today it's like, oh, they didn't just say that, did they? Like, there's like everything. Like, so you know, a lot of the progressive things that they talk about are in the Middle Ages, women were, you know, burned at the stake for doing this and doing that and doing that. And then they say, however, today we know that it's just hysteria. And it's like, it's like, wow. Oh no, we're not doing that, are we? So yes, female hysteria features prevalently in this movie. Like, you know, kleptomania is female hysteria, and you know, being an arsonist is female hysteria, and like all of these things are just clumped under hysteria. Having a uterus, you know, it's just like, oh no, we're not.
That's 1921 for you.
Yeah, and like it's really funny because at one point they're like, during the filming of the blah 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 scene, the actress playing the old witch said to me that she had actually seen the devil by her bedside once, and that we shouldn't, you know, we shouldn't take lightly the fact that the devil does exist. And then, like they say on the you know, title card, because it's a silent movie, on the title card it's like, can you believe this? In 1921, someone still believes that Satan exists. And it's and then I have another like, oh no moment of like, oh Mac, if you only knew, like, if you only knew what people still believe in 2021.
Oh geez.
This is 100 years later, and we
I just did the math. I'm like, oh my god, this is a 100-year-old movie.
Yep, it's a 100-year-old movie, and we still have people that believe shit like, yeah, there's a devil, and he controls us, and fuck, stop. And if you're one of those people that believes that there's the devil running around making you do horrible things, I'm not apologizing. You're ridiculous. Welcome to 2021. So there you go.
There you go.
Boom. That's the movie.
And it's called Haxan, and you said it's on HBO Max?
It's on HBO Max for free if you have HBO Max. If you don't have HBO Max, then it's not free. But yeah, it's part of the whole. HBO Max honestly has, like, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. Their catalog is impressive and fantastic. So,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I recommend this one. I genuinely recommend. Like this, it's a fascinating artifact. And if you're at all interested in like the occult or anything, it's actually like, I learned shit. Like, it's really interesting. Yeah. You take a tour through like a torture chamber.
Well, there you go.
Who doesn't want that?
I mean,
Yeah.
sign me up.
Ideas galore. Are you kidding me?
Well, I'm still sitting here stunned at the fact that it took me this long to realize it's 100 years. I mean,
It's 100 years.
Yeah,
It's
I
the 100
mean,
year. It's the 100th anniversary this year of Haksani.
is this the furthest you've gone back, Paul, in terms of movies that you brought?
Yeah,
to?
no, I said this is our first silent film.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
I opened with that.
100
That was the
years.
lead. I did not bury the lead.
And I would venture to say that we're probably the only movie podcast that is going to talk or will have talked about this film. So I'm willing to put money down on that. Haksan. We're going to bring it back.
Maybe not. But yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
Certainly in February. We're the only movie podcast that's talking about Haksan in February.
On this very night.
Yeah.
All right. Well, make sure that you catch up on Paul's past What the Hell Did I Just Watch segments. You can catch them on any one of our episodes. Just go back, make a list, and start watching the wonderful, wonderful list.
Start with Holy Motors.
There you go. What Paul recommends, you should heed. That leads us right into this week's Susan Finally Saw. Susan, what did you finally see?
I have a feeling that I am going to surprise both of you with this one. So the other night when we were deciding about our Netflix roulette episode, which is going to be coming up soon, I surprised both of you by selecting action as my category. So that's what we're looking forward to for next week. So stay tuned for action movies that Netflix gives us. It might be weird stuff.
Spoiler alert.
So yeah, because mine's weird. So keeping with that, I've decided that this year I'm gonna kind of try to break out of my shell of not really liking action movies. And I mean, so far so good.
Sure.
Why not? So I ended up actually watching a Quentin Tarantino film. Yes, I watched Kill Bill.
Oh,
Nice.
Volume 1 and 2?
No, just one. Just
Okay,
one. Then
cool.
two will be later
Okay.
when I have a chance to, recover. So what can you really say about it? It is there is a lot going on, and there's a lot. It's a Tarantino film. It really is. It's like what is it? What we talked about before? It's like he takes you to the point of being really uncomfortable, and then just leaves you there for a minute, and then it's like cut scene, like to the next scene. There were a lot of visuals in that one that I was just kind of like, oh, we're doing that then. Okay. With the jumping around, another one of his trademark things with like through the different timelines and the different as she's facing off the different the different assassins. I can't my words today. This is how it's gotten me. It's gotten me so far off. As she's going through and finding the different assassins that she's there. So it was just kind of it there were so many little things that were just odd. I think the one that struck me the most was, I think she was the very first one when she it's played by Vivica Fox. So her daughter gets off the bus and they're like, we're not doing anything. There's nothing wrong. Like the freaking house is destroyed, but no, we're not doing anything. We're just talking, and then it's like, yeah, so I just killed your mom. But if you don't like it, then you can kill
her.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the most brilliantly choreographed fight scenes, in my opinion.
Yes.
The one between Vivica Fox and okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and truly, like there were other things about it that me as a person got distracted by. I mean, obviously, like the blood everywhere, and there's like 480 gallons of fake blood or something like that they use. Like actually, that's the real number.
It's over the top.
Yeah. yeah, it was just over the top and crazy. And like we were watching, so we started watching a TV series about it. It's called Forged in Fire. It's like a competition show for people to like forge blades and stuff like that. And they did a Hollywood edition where they did the Hanzo steel. And like they prefaced it by saying, of course, you know, that in the movie he says that it's like a thousand layers of Damascus steel. For a normal person, like for a regular bladesmith, like 300 layers is considered an achievement, like a good like achievement. And they had these people do like the 1,000 layers, and the process is insane. Just saying that, like that was like, I got distracted by that. I was like, oh, that's the sort that they were talking about the other day. I want to see it. Like I want to look it up close, but I shouldn't do that. So, but yeah, it was interesting to say the least. I do still have part 2 on my never-ending list of movies to watch.
Good.
So,
There's I won't say anything about 2, although I'm just dying to. But the thing about this film is this was Tarantino's first opportunity to really throw a bunch of stuff at the wall because of the different stylistic things he did, like the entire Oren Ishii anime.
Yep.
You know, it was his opportunity to work with Sonny Chiba. I mean, this was one of his dreams, and so yeah, there's so much to Kill Bill Volume 1 that I love. I absolutely love both, but this one for me is very, very special because I have read volumes about what went into the making of this film for him as a director.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So I mean, and we can maybe discuss it sometime, but like there were a lot of things that we saw. We probably don't see eye to eye on. I'm just
sure.
wagering a guess.
Yeah.
That
wait till you get to the second one.
I mean, yay.
If I may, Susan, I just want to get Paul's thoughts on the fight choreography in this film. I mean, we talked about the Vivica A. Fox, but what is it, the Crazy 88s?
The Crazy 88s.
That whole sequence is so over the top.
So over the top and fantastic.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah,
wire work.
It's great. It's great. I get why you love the Vivica A. Fox scene. That is a great scene. It's just the thing about this movie, the pair of movies that I like is that it really takes situations where like and 2 gets even more silly. Situations where you just won't, you don't expect there to be like this kind of fight scene here and now or ever, and it's just like Vivica A. Fox, just a retired assassin, now homemaker, and it's just great. It is just great, and the cereal box is just fantastic.
Yeah,
of course. Why wouldn't she have a gun in her cereal box? Like, that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
And Pussy Wagon. I mean, how could you not be excited about that? He's buck and he's down to fuck. Come on.
That was yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really upsetting. It's not
really
appropriate at all.
Very bad.
It is not appropriate at all.
It's yeah.
And a theme for what we're going to be talking about during real quick reviews next week. He gets off easy.
Yeah. Susan, I have to say, I am impressed by your choice. This was a big, huge leap for you. So
yeah, this is definitely out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Yes.
But a good one that I can condone, unlike other movies that might begin with 13th and end with Warrior.
Wow. I heard they're coming out with a sequel. What's it called, Susan?
14th Warrior.
Hey-oh.
13th Warrior Part 2. This is when he gets his accent back.
Oh man.
When he wakes up from his coma and he finds out that he lives in rural Ohio.
It was all a dream.
It was all a dream. He lives in rural Ohio. And
why would anybody recommend 13th Warriors?
Because I have my taste.
But it's your okay. We're not going down that.
No, I was going to say we're not going to. If you want to do this, we'll do a whole episode.
No, okay.
I will make this an
I was going to
episode.
sit here and
Table
giggle
it.
the whole
All right.
time.
Go
the
do your
entire time.
segment, Sergio. It's Sergio's
Oh,
segment time.
it is.
Do it.
It is. Well, look at that. It is time for this week's real-time rewind, and given the delay, it's still February, so I've been doing courtroom dramas this month. Again, real-time rewind, just to remind you of films that I enjoy that I'd like to make sure people see, and if you haven't seen it, get out there, watch it. If you have, watch it again. Courtroom dramas, John Travolta, A Civil Action. Tony Shalhoub is also in this movie. Robert Duvall. It is a movie based on a lawyer by the name of Jan Schlickman. It is based on a true story. It's the story of a man who, a lawyer who you learn very quickly is in it for the dough, and the way in which his life changes as a result of this particular case that he takes on with a certain amount of arrogance and everything that happens as a result of that. Robert Duvall plays the opposing counsel in a brilliant turn, an absolutely fantastic turn by Robert Duvall. And it's just a fantastic film. It is a fantastic film, and I cannot recommend it enough. I saw your reaction, Paul, either not familiar or...
I've never even heard of this one, honestly.
I would invite both of you to check it out. It is talky, yes, but
Susan is all on board.
If you want,
for that
if the theme of 2021, Susan, is step out of your comfort zones, check out A Civil Action.
That's a step too. I mean, getting talky is a bridge too far. Sorry. Like, okay, I can do action or I can do talky. So
stick with action. But yeah, no, there are so many layers to this film, and the progression of the characters, particularly John Travolta. Again, this was very much after his revival in terms of his career, and one of the movies he chose that I'm glad he did, because let's face it, there are some we could have done without. So, Civil Action is available out there somewhere. I think on Netflix, maybe not. I'll find out.
I find this interesting because it's from 1998 and it's about a company that poisoned the town's water supply.
Yes.
And like Flint, hello. I mean, crazy.
Right.
Whatever. All right.
Yeah. No, it really is great. It did get some Academy Award nominations. Best Supporting Actor, Robert Duvall. Cinematography.
Which is weird for a courtroom drama. So now I'm intrigued. Like,
it's when you see the visuals of the town, particularly, you'll understand why. But yeah, absolutely.
You can't tell me what I'm going to
do. This is true. This is true. I cannot. Don't forget, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram. Find out what we've watched, what we're going to watch, what all has gone on as a part of this show. All of our posters from our past shows are there. That way you get out there, find them, and listen or watch them. You can catch us on our audio version on Podbean and Spotify, as well as continue to join us week to week here on YouTube. We thank you so much for doing so. Don't forget, you can click on that subscribe button. If you haven't, click that notification bell for sure so you know when our episodes land, and give us likes, because we're greedy, but we also like to work and do this for you. This week, we are going to do, as we always do, some real quick reviews, and we have some very interesting selections. A couple, Paul and Susan, that we're going to talk about as part of this week's segment. Malcolm and Marie and Judas and the Black Messiah. Paul, I want you to decide where we start, because...
Malcolm and Marie. That's easy.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. This movie is basically, here are two fantastic, amazing young actors that you're going to make sure you watch for the next 20 years. And this movie will probably end up being a footnote in their career. However, it will be an interesting footnote. I'm not going to say powerful, because it's not powerful, but it's very strong. It makes a statement, and Zendaya is one of those actors, one of the two actors that are in it. She is just remarkable. I mean, she is absolutely remarkable throughout this movie, and young Mr. Washington is fantastic as well. And I can't, taking his role, I mean, being an actor and being like, yeah, there's two people in this movie and I'm going to go ahead and take this role. That's not an easy decision because he does not come across very good at all.
Right.
And, but it works. I mean, it works for me. It's not an enjoyable movie to watch, but it is an interesting movie to watch. How's that?
Yeah, I can see that. I can't say I enjoyed it. I can't deny the power of their performances.
Right.
I think that there was a point where some decisions were made directorially and also by the actors that I just feel like it made this become way too heavy. And then it felt mishandled. There's some real angst and anger in John David Washington's character of Malcolm. But he expressed it at the same level throughout the entire film. There were things that he did in his relationship with Marie, played beautifully by Zendaya. Again, both brilliant performances, but there was just something about how John David Washington played his character at the same level the entire time, to the point where I didn't like him at all. And I don't know that was how I was supposed to feel. He said some very, very heinous things to her. It was hard for me to really understand where this film was going. This continues the streak of films that we have seen lately where we've commented that it feels like a play, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I just really struggled with it because, okay, well, you give me two characters. There's a point where maybe I'll like one and I won't the other. And that's what was happening. But then Marie said some things and I was like, well, now I don't like either one of them. I didn't know how I was supposed to feel. And that was, I think, for me, a disconnect in the way the film was put together. I loved the black and white. I loved the changing of rooms, right? Every time she went out to grab a cigarette, you saw a different part of the house. And I think the house was as much a character as they were.
Absolutely.
But there was something that, and I don't want to put it all on Sam Levinson, but I think a large part of the weight should fall on him because I just don't feel like he meshed it together in a way that made me feel anything for these characters other than just utter frustration. And then they do that thing where it's like, okay, now we're at the end and it's done. Like that, I struggled with it. I really, really did.
I did too. Like you can't overlook the actors and how they did. Like their performances were stellar, but I was uncomfortable the entire time. Like,
yes.
Like you said, I wasn't sure who I was supposed to be mad at or who I was supposed to dislike, but I didn't really like anybody. I didn't really like either of them. Like,
no.
It was for me. It was like when you're out with a group of friends and like two friends, they start arguing in front of you. You just kind of have to sit there and like, sit there awkwardly. Like that's how it kind of felt for me. It was that like that method, that uncomfortable feeling. It's just not.
Maybe that was the point. I don't know.
No, that's clearly the point, because the whole point of the movie is that we're in this uncomfortable position of watching an argument, and in a civil disagreement, it's rare that you're going to have one side that is the correct side. It's usually two sides that just don't see each other for where they are. I do want to say the Malcolm monologue was definitely done. Like if David Washington was like, if he was at this level throughout most of the movie, like you said, he was at this level during the monologue.
Yeah.
Like so I do want to say he did vary it a little bit, but he was definitely up here. Yeah. The varying was very high. But I think that was the character. Like I don't, like you said, was it the direction or was it the acting? And I just think that's who it was. I think it was the directing. But it makes for very uncomfortable, because having somebody that high octane around is stressful. It's like you need a break. you need a break from people like that, and that you do not get a break. You're in the,
Yeah.
No.
Speaking of monologues, the last monologue by Zendaya.
Oh. Yeah.
I think she'll get a nod, maybe a Golden Globe nom, but she didn't.
That's
okay.
the problem. That's the problem. She deserved it.
Is a look at what, to your point earlier, it is a look at what we will get to see from her in years to come. Hopefully,
I know.
Both of them. I mean, when you think of John David Washington's most recent film, Tenet and Black Klansman, brilliant actor. She really impressed me because it's so different from what I've seen her do before. So
I just
the acting is stellar.
I want her to win like 5 Oscars in the next 10 years. I just like every other year I want it to be Zendaya because of this movie, because she's so good. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. So that's our real quick review. I'm gonna slap it with 3.5, 3 tacos and add the guac for Zendaya.
I agree. I'm landing squarely at 3 tacos on that one. So Susan?
Yeah, I'm gonna say 3 tacos also. Like it and barely that, because just let me. Sorry.
Everybody comes out of it feeling a certain way. That's right. And maybe that's the beauty of it, is that it does make you feel. That's for dang sure. The second movie we have is Judas and the Black Messiah. The first one, Malcolm Ray, available on Netflix. Judas and the Black Messiah on HBO Max.
For a short while, like not longer, not much longer. So please,
catch it.
Yeah.
So now we have a historical picture based on the life. There you go. I don't even know where to start with this movie. I loved every second of it. The performances in this film this was a movie about Fred Hampton, chairman of the Black Panther Party, and who is portrayed beautifully by Daniel Kaluuya, and William O'Neill, who was apparently an FBI plant within the Black Panther organization, played by Lakeith Stanfield. Lakeith Stanfield plays tortured very well. This film hits on every level. I can't think of the last time that I saw a movie that was this well put together on this kind of subject matter. Shades of Malcolm X. I loved it, Paul. I don't even know where else to go with it other than just a complete picture, and very much in the buzz for awards.
Yeah. Shaka King being given, the director being given just a huge film without a huge resume, but just delivers a home run, an absolute home run. This movie is so important. There are so many movies that are coming out recently that are just so important, and we're saying it a lot recently, but it is. You have to see this movie, and if you have parents that don't get it, if you have parents that think that BLM is a terrorist organization, if you have parents that think that what happened this past summer is reactionary, and just lock them in your house and make them watch this movie and understand this is not the exception to this movie is not the exception to what's going on. This movie is not a time capsule to something that doesn't happen anymore. This movie is the reality for people who have been doing nothing but just trying to be treated as human beings. That's it. That's all they're trying to do, is be treated like human beings.
It's really the kind of experience that forces you to people will react in one of two ways, if you ask me. They'll watch it and go, great film, awesome. Or they'll do what I hope is a good thing on my part. It made me go and read. It made me go and learn. I didn't know, I knew the name, Fred Hampton, I knew the basics, but I didn't know the detail of what his life was poured into. I didn't know all of the extension of what that experience was for him.
Yep.
That's, for me,
the we have, to your point of, we have so many important films. We have no excuse.
Yeah.
The medium of film in these last 2 or 3 years is being used to teach us things if we would just fucking pay attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this movie does that.
And just to mention Lakeith Stanfield, if you haven't seen Sorry to Bother You, that's another one that you need to add Sorry to Bother You to your list, because that is just another super powerful movie. A lighter fare, like it's a very dark comedy, but it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal, and these voices need to be heard by a growing audience. And it's interesting you mentioned, go look things up, and Fred Hampton was actually mentioned during the trial of the Chicago 7, which
Mm-hmm.
is a movie we've done recently, a few months ago, and even then, that's where I learned about Fred Hampton, was during, in my doing my research, after watching Trial of the Chicago 7, I stumbled upon Fred Hampton, and I was like, oh, what's this? And then I fell down that rabbit hole, and it's a rabbit hole that is just shocking.
Oh, yeah.
And it shouldn't be. This is history that should be taught, and these are voices that need to be heard.
Yeah, indeed.
I want to cry.
We need to be made uncomfortable by films like this, because it is our reality. So we highly encourage you. 2
films during real quick reviews that made me very uncomfortable for very different reasons.
Right. So we encourage you, as always, get out there, watch the films we talk about. We, regardless of our own feelings, create your own feelings about the movies we talk about. Malcolm and Marie can be found on Netflix. You can find on HBO Max Judas and the Black Messiah.
5 with guac, by the way.
Absolutely. 5 with guac, indeed. No doubt.
Perfect.
So
It's
make
perfect.
sure you check it out. It is going to be huge come award season. With that, we come to the conclusion of yet another episode.
Shame, by the way, shame on the Golden Globes.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously. Shame
Yeah.
on the Golden Globes. F them. I'm kind of done with them forever after this year. Their nominations this year are a joke.
Yeah, they really are.
Ridiculous. Yeah, whatever.
Don't even know what to say about that. It's just bad.
There is nothing to
Bad,
say.
bad, bad.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Bad.
I am going to do one thing that I normally don't do.
Okay.
Next week, we will be doing Netflix Roulette. As you mentioned, action movies will be the topic, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
But ahead of next week's real quick reviews, I have to do this, Paul and Susan.
Yeah, that's fine.
Please, if you're watching the show, watch Nomadland. We're going to talk about it next week.
Yep.
Again.
Take notes.
Yeah, it's important. So with that said, Paul, Susan, as always, thank you for your insights and thoughts on this thing we love called movies. I look forward to next week, because my film is something.
You don't even know.
I'm so excited.
I am too. I think we're going to have a really good episode next week.
I agree.
Not to besmirch this week's episode,
Not at all.
but next week we're coming out guns a-blazing.
Yeah. I stuck with my first spin, but it made me spin out of curiosity. I was like, oh, this one's going to be great. So, absolutely. Okay, well, thank you once again for joining us. Those of you out there in the world, we really appreciate it, and we thank you. We look forward to next week. Remember, as we always tell you, take care of one another, love one another, wash your hands, and most important, don't ever forget, you're awesome, you're amazing, and the world's a better place because you are in it. Paul, you're killing me. We'll see you next time on Real to Real Talk. Paul, what was that?